Hello everyone, it is Micah and I'm coming at you today with a topic that was actually a request from a subscriber to the channel, leveling secondary classes. So here you are, Eric, I hope this helps. Your first job in this game will level incredibly fast with all the story and all the side quests that are everywhere. But when it comes to leveling that second, third, or fourth job, you may notice that the process is a wee bit slower, especially before level 50. But there's things that you can do to pick up the pace even if you don't have a lot of time. Before I get into the actual activities that are going to get you that all so delicious experience, there are a few other things I want to cover that's going to get you a little bit more. And the first of these is food. Because every piece of food in this game has no more and no less than a 3% bonus to your experience. And while that might not seem like a lot, it really does add up quickly. If you belong to a free company, then the leaders have the option to put up company actions, which are buffs that are active on all free company members and last for 24 hours each. Now there's one for increased experience to battle classes, and there's another for increased experience to gathering and crafting classes. These actions also come in 3 tiers for a bonus of 5, 10, or 15%, depending on which tier is active. Then you also have a resting bonus, which you get by logging out, AFKing, or just hanging out in a city, in player housing, at an Aetheryte camp, or really any place this small crescent moon appears next to your experience bar. This bonus will accumulate over time and give you an extra 50% experience. Now the amount you can receive does cap, but will actively replenish whenever you're in one of the aforementioned sanctuaries. The higher your level, the more of a resting bonus you will also receive, making it more and more worthwhile as your level grows. If you are creating a brand new character, you may want to consider choosing a preferred server, which will have a star next to its name in the server list. Now, a preferred server is going to give you a bonus of 100% to absolutely all the experience you earn for 90 days. This bonus, however, only applies to new characters, so you can't transfer to a preferred server and receive it. And if you transfer off of a preferred server before your 90 days are up, then you're going to lose it. But now let's take a look at some of the gear you can use. If you're under level 30, be sure to have a brand new ring equipped from the Hall of the Novice Training Trials for a 30% experience bonus. And if you haven't pre-ordered the new expansion Endwalker yet, well, then you get an experience bonus earring if you do. Now, if you are watching this after the Endwalker expansion has come out, then you may be able to receive one of these with the next expansion's pre-order. The current earring will give you a 30% experience bonus all the way up to level 80. Finally, if you're on a trial account or a new account and you have not paid for a subscription yet, then you can get a friendship circlet, amongst other things, via the Recruit a Friend program that will give a 20% experience bonus all the way up to level 25. All you need to do for this is to simply get a code from an existing player and then input it into your Square Enix account. Then when you pay for a subscription, you're going to get all the items that come along with it. Now, if you're not sure if you qualify, open your account on the Mog Station and see if you have the option to enter recruitment code under the registration codes section. And if you need a code, feel free to tweet at me. I'll be more than happy to send you one. But now we're going to move on to how you actually gain experience for your secondary classes. And the first thing I want to talk about is hunts, which have multiple unlock levels and are a really great way to get experience if you're just out wandering the world doing other things. Now, the first hunts are class specific and will unlock for all classes after you complete your first level 10 battle class quest. And you can find these hunt objectives by going to the main menu, selecting logs, and then hunting log. Each of your starting jobs in this game will have a list of objectives that will ask you to kill a certain amount of specific enemy marks for an experience reward. And these can be incredibly helpful and can easily get you, at minimum, 1 full level with each tier. and each tier unlocks every 10 levels up to level 50. There's another unlock through your Grand Company in the form of Hunt Bills. These, however, don't pay out an experience. That doesn't mean you should just ignore Hunt Bills though, because once you reach Ishgard, more are going to unlock, and these ones do have an experience reward, as will the ones you unlock in Rhalgr's Reach and the Crystarium later on. And these hunts are really great if you just need just a little bit more experience and you're short on time. They also get more and more worthwhile with each tier, so don't forget about them. Don't ignore these, especially if you're already going to be out exploring the world. All hunt marks will be marked with either this symbol or this one, and you can find the objectives for the hunt bills in your key items. The best thing about hunts, in my personal opinion, is that they take you out into the open world. And let's be honest here, the open world is sadly mostly abandoned after you get through the story quests. And there's other options that get you out into the open world as well, like full active timed events, or fates for short. And participating in fates close to your own level is the best way to maximize the experience you get from them, and as long as you're close to the fates level, you should also have little trouble in completing them. Now, you do have to be spatially aware when it comes to completing fate objectives, because depending on the fate, it's gonna be super easy to aggro any other enemies around you, which is gonna make things a little dicey. Now, experience from fates is not optimal, but they're really great for when you just want to be out in the world, if you want to level while you're solo, or you just need to bridge that gap between a few levels so you can, open up a few other things or do something a little different. They're also a really great way to level your Chocobo companion, who is also, in turn, really great at keeping you alive if you have no other way to heal yourself. Seriously, do not ignore your Chocobo companion. They are incredibly handy. There's another overworld activity that can get you a little bit of experience while providing some lore and some unique rewards in the form of Beast Tribe quests, which will unlock as you move through the main story. Now, there's 5 different Beast Tribes for the A Realm Reborn areas, 4 for battle classes, and 1 for crafting classes. And you can do 3 quests each day from each tribe, up to a total of 12. You mostly want to do these for the stories they tell and the items you can obtain. I mean, the A Realm Reborn Beast Tribes don't give a whole lot of experience, but they do give some. In my opinion, it's more just bonus experience. The Beast Tribes in later expansions, however, are much more worthwhile for experience. And once you hit that Shadowbringers Beast Tribe, the experience gets crazy wild, so don't forget about them. Next, you're going to have access to all the things you unlocked over the course of leveling your original class. When you reach levels 10 and 16, you can run both the Guildhest and the Leveling Roulettes respectively. Now, Leveling Roulette in particular is going to get you a very healthy amount of experience for sure, and a little bit of bonus if you're the role that's in need. But let's be fair, that's tank about 95% of the time. Leveling Roulette itself is going to put you in a random dungeon that you've already unlocked and that you're high enough level to enter. So if you're level 30, it's only going to put you in dungeons that are level 30 and below. You can only do 1 Leveling Roulette a day for the bonus. After that, if you want to run more dungeons, it's best just to queue up for the one that's closest to your own level. Multiple roulettes are going to open as you get higher levels and you complete more and more content, and in my opinion, they're pretty much all worth doing. I don't know of a single one that's not worth doing. If you have some of those bonus experience items I mentioned earlier, dungeons are definitely going to be an amazing source of experience, because those bonuses are going to be applied to the experience you gain from each and every kill. Dungeons do have one major drawback, however, at least for damage dealers: queue times. And I often hear people saying that they feel like they're wasting a lot of time by queuing up for dungeons because it takes so long for them to pop, and they feel like they're just standing around waiting. But my question is, why are you just standing around waiting for dungeons to pop? Not only could you use that time to level your gathering or crafting classes, but you could also spend that time out doing hunts or fates. If you're a DPS, you could also utilize the Grand Company squadrons for instant queues into a few select dungeons, as long as you've gained sufficient rank in your Grand Company, that is. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into the squadron system here, because, spoiler alert, I have a whole video coming out on Grand Companies and squadrons. But they're a great way to run dungeons with NPCs, similar but not the same as the trust system introduced in Shadowbringers. So you can run a dungeon with instant queues and be able to keep all the loot that drops. The trade-off, however, is that they're gonna be a little bit slower than they normally would be with a group of actual players. Now, if you're a tank or healer, I personally would not recommend squadrons as a really great source of experience because your queues for actual dungeons should be rather fast. But for a DPS class, oh yeah, they're pretty fantastic. But now we're going to come to the final thing I want to talk about, and it's the one way to earn experience quickly without having to worry about things like gear, and can be used from level 1. Deep Dungeons. Deep Dungeons are a system of randomized dungeon that you can unlock in Gridania after you complete the level 17 quest, The House That Death Built, which unlocks after you complete the level 17 main scenario quest, Into a Copper Hell. Now, Deep Dungeons, or Palace of the Dead, as this one specifically is called, is a unique experience. It has its own leveling system, its own gear progression system, and a bunch of unique rewards. After you unlock Palace of the Dead, you can queue for entry by speaking to the Wood Whaler Expeditionary Captain at Quarry Mill in the South Shroud. Now, you can enter with a pre-made party, or you can enter with a random group. Either way, it does not have to be the normal party composition. Deep Dungeons can easily be completed by any combination of jobs, which is what makes the queue times dramatically faster. Being randomized, every time you go into the dungeon, the layout's going to be different. However, the enemies you encounter will be the same. Each run will also consist of 10 floors and 2 main objectives. Unlock the Karna Passage, which leads to the next floor by killing enemies and defeating the boss at the end. After you complete the dungeon, you're going to get a bulk experience reward with a higher level dungeon paying out the most experience. Now, the reward is going to be static. It's going to be the same for each tier. It doesn't matter how many enemies you killed, it doesn't matter how many chests you pop, which is why speed is of the essence. If everyone dies, you fail the dungeon and you're transported out with no reward. But you're given plenty of tools in the dungeon in the form of pomanders and Phoenix Down to help you out along the way. Your power and survivability in the Deep Dungeons is not dependent on your gear. You can go in wearing whatever you want. Instead, it's dependent on your Aether Pool arm and your Aether Pool armor rating, which caps at 99 and has a chance of increasing every time someone opens up a silver chest. When you first enter, your job is going to be set to level 1, regardless of your actual level. Then as your job levels inside the dungeon and the level of your Aether Pool arm and armor increases, you're going to be able to unlock higher level floors. The absolute best way to utilize Deep Dungeons to level is by running through them as quickly as you can, only fighting the enemies you need to, and only popping the chests you pass along the way. Now, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you're trying to maximize your experience gain outside of Deep Dungeons, which comes in the bulk experience drop at the end. And by focusing only on the objectives, that's exactly what you will do. Now, I've ran this many times with new players and veterans players alike, and everybody's so conditioned, not only by this game, but by MMOs in general, to go in and kill as much as you can and pop all the chests, that's what people tend to want to do. But it's not what you do here. Kind of gotta get that out of your head and, just not do that. You should encounter enough enemies and enough random chests as you move through to keep you where you need to be, and by spending time searching for extra enemies to kill and more chests to pop, you're actually slowing down your progression both inside and outside of the dungeon. So as you move through, searching for that Karna Passage, kill every enemy, and pop every chest. But once you get the message that states the Cairn of Passage has activated, you're going to want to avoid as many enemies as you can and move as quickly as possible to that cairn and then up to the next floor. And if that means abandoning the chests, then that's exactly what you should do. Once you hit level 60 in Deep Dungeons, which should honestly not take that long at all, spamming floors 51 through 60 are by far the fastest way to level up whatever job you're on. Once your actual level hits 60, there's another deep dungeon in the Ruby Sea called Heaven on High that can be unlocked as you work your way through the Stormblood expansion. But you do need to complete Palace of the Dead before Heaven on High can be unlocked. I do want to note just a couple of things real quick here when it comes to deep dungeons. None of your experience bonus items or buffs are going to work. They're just as meaningless here as the rest of your gear. You also have access to all of your abilities. So if a job is brand new to you, if it's level 1, you haven't played it before, be sure to go over all of your abilities and place them on your hotbar. And try to get at least a basic understanding of your rotation and your abilities before you enter. Then when you reach level 30, be sure to complete your class quests and get your job stone. Your damage is going to be much higher and you're going to complete the floors much more easily and quickly if you have your advanced job, just like you would in a normal dungeon. And that, my friends, are some of the best ways I have found to level secondary classes. If you have any questions or a suggestion of your own for a future video, feel free to drop it in the comments or just tweet at me. My Twitter is linked in the description. And if this video was helpful, a like would be much appreciated, as would a sub if you haven't already. But no pressure, never any pressure. And with that, as per the usual, it has been a hoot. Until next time, have fun.